was about to say good morning. Good afternoon, y'all. We are just gonna give it a few, maybe 2 minutes to make sure that everybody is in the room, and then we're gonna get started. Okay, let's get started. I don't want to hold y'all for long. So, thanks everybody for joining our second external evaluator training. It's not required, but we did this year want to have more trainings than we generally have. Our normal once a year training just did not feel like it was enough, and it felt like we were giving you so much information during that time that it was just inundated with information. So we're trying to kind of break it up to give you the information as you need it. So, the first training we talked about your evaluation report or evaluation plan and just what you need to start compiling to get ready and the trainings that you need to do to get ready for your observations and observation data. This training, we're going to talk about Easy Report and some of the things that we know that you'll need leading up to going into the summer and the survey prep. So we're about to start telling our grantees to make sure that they complete the surveys, but we also want to let whatever information we're gathering at this point and what information y'all can glean from that and what information you need to be trying to get yourself or pushing your grantees to get during this process. So that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today, an Easy Report, because we want to make sure that you know how to navigate through Easy Report to get the data that you're looking for. Because we're going to show you some Easy Report, we're going to show you the Easy Report website. We are not going to be posting this recording on the website, but it will be on YouTube. So when Linda Williams will send you a link next, either Friday or no, Friday's tomorrow, next week sometime. And when she sends you the link, that will be your only access to get the this recording. So just know that you can always send us an email and say, hey, can you send it back to me? But it will not be on our YouTube page if you're looking for it just randomly, because Easy Reports information is proprietary data and they do not like to show their stuff to the open public, which I understand. So the next training will pretty much talk about I'll get to that later. So let's get into it. So Easy Report, Linda Williams is on this PowerPoint. She always does a really good job of PowerPoints. I like the Black History part since we're in the midst of Black History. And we have history. So your data is your history. So it's their story. It's the story that we are creating with 21st century data. So we're going to talk about Easy Report and evaluation. Let's get into it. And we're TPI. That's our boss, Dr. Jason Bryant. He's not on with us today. I think he's in Mobile doing some training. So I'm Erica Rucker. I'm the 21st Century Program Coordinator. Linda Dean is the 21st Century Specialist. She's all things Easy Report, surveys. She's our reminder for the grantees. She does really good gentle nudges. And then Linda Williams is our external evaluator. Final report, all things external evaluator. We also all do, some stuff on Easy Report and all of that, but that's pretty much their roles. They're my lovely Lindas. And we also have a graduate student, Kirsten. She's doing her student teaching this semester, so she's not with us, but she is on our team and she does upload stuff to Easy Report and does a little bit of contacting also. So just in case you talk to Kirsten at some point. So here's our table of contents. This is where we're going to go for the day. We're going to talk about program operations, then demographics, grantee site summary, 21 APR, survey result reports, assessment grade reports, report wizards, GEPA results, parental involvement, professional development, summer, and then we'll open it for questions. If you do have questions at some point during the PowerPoint, please let me know. Just you can either wave your hand or you can pop it in the chat box. Either one, I don't do well with the just, hey, how you doing? Just it kind of throws me off. So either one, you can raise your hand or throw it in the chat box. Did you know data can be found in, there we go, easy reports. It's gonna make me keep clicking. Lesson plans, observations, surveys, attendance, grades, state assessments, participation. I might have one more. And Power School. Let's talk about Power School. I do not have access to Power Schools. My lenders don't have access to Power Schools. A lot of times your site directors don't have access to Power Schools. Data is loaded from the schools into Power School all the time. We don't have access to it. We don't get Power School access or data from Power School. We never get Power School access until right about now. So I have just completed the 21 APR report that is going to the feds today. They said my data was complete. So that's how long of a turnover there is from the documents. So that's why we want to make it really, really clear this year that you should not expect for any of your data to come from Easy Report. We thought initially when this GEPRA changes came about that we would have access to it earlier than this. We do not. We keep having conversations to try to figure out how we can get regular access to the data, but we have not figured that out so far. So we get one pull a year. It normally started around September, October, and that data was incorrect, or it wasn't all of the data we needed. We finally got correct data, I would say December 20th, might have been December 21st. And so that data was not aggregated and completely put into Easy Report correctly until today they finished. So that's how long of a process that turnover is between us requesting data from the state from Power School to getting it back to us, and then Easy Report aggregating the data for it to be in Easy Report. So do not lean on Power School for your data. So just let's think about that. So in Easy Report, program operation, you're going to find site information, you're going to find their staffing. They should have a list of their current staff in Easy Report. They should have a list. Their address should be on there, and their activities and activity sessions. So activities are like their headings. So it's going to be like snack or CMP, STEM, after school activities, homework help, service learning. Those are like their objectives. That's what I tell the grantees when I'm doing training with them. Their activities are literally tied directly to their objectives, and then they create sessions under there. So how are you actually utilizing or doing whatever you put in your objectives? What are your measurable things? So let's see. To the side, which makes the main slide hard to view. Let me see what you see. Ah, you are right. You're seeing the wrong thing. Hold on. Let's swap views. Okay, I think that worked. All right, thank you. Put that let me just stop this because that's going to confuse me. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Share screen. Can I share? Let's make that live. Okay, are y'all seeing the big screen now? So I want to make sure. And I want to see, and I want to swap that.
Mine is on full screen, Erica.
It just swapped. It looks like y'all can see. Yeah, that is no good. Okay, let's see what you see. Okay. Y'all should be good right now. Y'all see the whole screen, not my preview slides, even though it's gonna make me look back and forth. Okay. I don't want to flip through that anymore. So, activities and all that, that's gonna be listed as sessions on their Easy Report. And that's just basically what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So they always should have homework help. They always should have that they have snack every day. They always should have that they have STEM activities. Now, it might not show the specific STEM activities that they do. That should be given to you as a form of a lesson plan, or what you observed when you do their observation. I will be asking for evidence of what are their STEM activities, not just going on Easy Report and saying, hey, I know they do STEM every day. So I would ask for lesson plans. They have to pull those things and put them into Cognia for their compliance. So they should have evidence, several different pieces of evidence for all of their objectives in their grant. So let's go to the next one. So demographics, that's going to be an Easy Report. Let me first say, please do not put kids' names and demographic information into Easy Report. That is a FERPA violation. So when they send you a report, or if you pull a report, I do not mind you using that report. Just make sure that the report that you pulled is just demographics and not student name and identifiable information attached to that. So just be mindful of that. So you're going to get gender, race, ethnicity, participation, which means how many days did they participate or what was their percentage of participation. Remember that 21st century is now, if they participated one day, then they are counted. So it's not the 30-day plus rule anymore, one day. So that means we have the possibility of listing a lot more children than we previously did. So don't be shocked if you see sites who have serviced 200 some kids, even though their grant called for 120. Just because of the one day thing. You might have a whole nother turnover between summer and school day, but you're gonna give your data separately from summer and school day. So we're gonna talk about it. That's gonna show attendance, how many days they attend, grade span, do they attend first grade, those type of things. Population specific. So it's gonna say what's their race and ethnicity. You're gonna have to tell me, Linda Williams, if that means something different.
Population specific is their Hispanic, non-Hispanic ELA students is what they're talking about there.
And then student grade reports can be pulled for comparison and aggregate.
I think they'll need free lunch also.
Yes, free lunch, free and reduced lunch is on there. It does give the option of NA, and some people check NA, but that is something that we directly report to the federal government. So we directly report how many of our students or what percentage of our students actually get free or reduced lunch. So that's something we've emphasized that to the grantees to make sure that they check yes or no and not other, or if it's free or, but you emphasizing these things also and telling them the importance of these things is gonna help us. Let's see, let me take a second and look at the chat box.
Hey, Erica, if you would click where it says Easy Report 2324, they need to see the site summary because it contains a lot of information that they can use in their final report that is found in Easy Report.
Okay, let me try to switch y'all share. Now we're gonna see Easy Report. All right. So this is our Easy Report. And I'm gonna log into the test site for y'all. Can y'all see that? Y'all should be able to see that screen. And tell me where am I going? I'm going to reports. And so this is how Easy Report is set up. These are the tiles. A lot of the grantees use the tiles because I've been at Easy Report for so long. I guess I'm an Easy Report OG. I use this side panel because that's what I'm used to using before the tiles came about. But the side panel is going to give you a little bit more information. The tiles or the buttons are just the frequently used, notice that there's an add and remove button on the screen too. And this will just add and remove it to your specific screen. So if that's what you want to do, by all means do it. It's not going to affect the screen that the grantees see if you decide to do that. But let's go to reports and then all reports. So I'm going to click on that. And these are all the reports that you can get from Easy Report. I'm not going to click on this data because it's not really going to show you anything because it's a test site, but I will show you how you can get it. So you want site reports, and then I'm going for what you're looking for.
I tell them to use also the search bar up at the top, Erica. And usually if you type in whatever you're looking for, like maybe like site summary, it'll pull it up. So that you won't have to be looking, no, not site report summary. Click, are you on, well, you're in a different report, but it's usually under site summary.
That's what I was going to ask. Are you looking for?
Under all reports.
Yeah, I'm under all reports.
Okay. Click in there, it says, and click site.
You're saying click site?
No, I'm sorry, type in sites, I'm sorry.
This could be missing some, though, now that I'm thinking about it, because this is a test site, so it does not have everything that.
You see summary by site? The second one. The second, go back up.
That one.
Right there.
Okay. So then you'll go through here and it'll ask you, do you want to generate report or generate Excel spreadsheet? I do Excel report. The regular generate report.
But before you do that, Erica, you all make sure that you go with the beginning of whenever that site started. Like if they started 11/27, you put in 11/27 until the date, maybe today's date, and it give you that complete report. But you have to start at the beginning date. If they didn't start in August, then you don't put in August. So make sure you stay with whatever date the school started in order to get their summary. What is the starting date? When did they start school?
And for cohort 16, that'll be just the regular, start with the beginning of the school year. So I would say
that's correct. But for 17, it'll be different. They didn't start at the beginning.
If they were 15 already, then you're gonna put probably 11/27 because that's the date that the 17 started. That was the date they were informed. Or if they were brand new, then it's probably sometime in January that they started. A lot of them started, and make sure that you have the years correct when you're making these changes. So a lot of them started either the 4th, but a few started somewhere in the middle of the month. So that'd be something that you find out from them, and that's something that you need to know going in, because the date that they put in the grant might not, it's probably not the date that it actually started. Okay, so let's go back and show you what that. Let's go back. All right, so Easy Report helps users generate 21 APR reports to assess the annual performance data of all participants attending the 21st Century Program as required by federal law. We can look at that one too. Y'all are just gonna get us going back and forth because I want y'all to see. I want to go back to the total.
That's the 21 APR report. That 21 APR report is going to give them a lot of information. Staff, participation, the students, what grade levels they're in. That's one of the main reports that they should pull from Easy Report is that I'm sorry.
But don't
Did you
look
hear
for
me?
it to give you GEPR information.
No, not GEPRA, but it contains a lot of other information that they
Give
can
you
glean from the
demographics.
21 APR, like the activities, what activities did they take? Also, what age group did these children, how many kindergartens, how many first graders, how many ninth graders, how many 10th graders they have? Okay, which race do they fall into? What are they ELL students? Are they free and reduced students? So there's a lot of information that you can glean from the 21 APR report.
So what you should be able to get is the activity, staffing, and participation. That part comes directly from Easy Report, but it sometimes will need a little cleaning up. So you can get an APR report from there, but don't, your GEPR stuff is going to be your outcomes. So don't look for that information to be in there. Notice it says unavailable data. But for 21 APR, the activity, staffing, and participation, you will be able to see that information, which will have your demographic stuff, and it'll already be cleaned to where you don't have to take kids' names off and that type of information.
Also, Erica, make sure you all remember that it will be available fall and spring. Summer is different, totally different. You will find the 21 APR for the fall and the spring, but not for the summer. Because we're just looking at the school year versus that of the summer, even though you're getting information for the summer out of Easy Report, but the 21 APR is not one of the information that you're going to get so readily, because it won't be available. Because I know we had that trouble last year, a lot of people looking for that summer 21 APR. The State Department is looking for the school year versus the summer.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about the surveys. So these are the surveys. I want you to be mindful of which ones are actually required. So there are a lot of surveys entered into Easy Report that are accessible for the grantees. But at this point, the only ones that are required by the Department of Education are the ones that say DOE survey. And I actually put in here that it's required for grades 1 through 5. So those are the only ones that are required, those teachers from 1 through 5. But we did add a teacher survey in here for grades 6 through 12. So if you want surveys from your grantees, you need to tell them early. So Linda Dean will send emails out starting March 1st about, asking your teachers for surveys and, requesting the surveys, because you can do the whole thing through the website, but they have to know to disseminate them, or that you want the data, and they need to understand why you want the data. So,
and I will be pushing that because GEPRA requires it for GEPRA 5, I believe it is, the survey results. So they have to do the grade 1 through 5 one. That is not optional.
let's go. So we're gonna keep saying this. Did you know site coordinators, program directors, and external evaluators should collaborate? They should collect data, they should analyze data, they should discuss findings. Like you should be talking to them. They should share ideas. So different ideas that you see or things that bubble up while you're doing observations that you notice, hey, this could be improved, or hey, I thought this was a great idea, and if you did this one thing, this seems like this would be even better. That would be great to share with them. And communicate regularly, sign all pertinent documents. I know that's a new one, but that is has to be done. If your documents, whether that's your mid-year report, your final report, or your evaluation plan, if you submit these, or your observations, you submit these documents and they do not have signatures, they will be asked for the signatures. Either somebody from TPI or the State Department is going to look at these documents and say, hey, we're gonna mark this as a return because it needs a signature. And if the State Department does it on their end, then that grant is not in compliance and they cannot draw down funds. So just be mindful, that is really important for them, that all documents be signed by both them and you, because they're having to upload them into Cognia for compliance. So
Erica, you know what? I'm finding that this is a problem because I see one signature but not the other.
Mhm.
And external evaluators, please, she's just mentioned the evaluation plan, mid-year report, and the final report, and those observation forms. They should have both your signature, site coordinator / program directors on that. And I'm finding a whole lot of copies that they're not doing this. You may sign it, but the site coordinator or the program director don't sign, or the program director and the site coordinator sign, and you don't sign. We're telling you the exact documents that we need that has to have these signatures on. Your observation should have signatures on it. Should have signatures. So please, please, before you upload anything into Quadrix, make sure there's 2 signatures on it. Thank you, Erica.
and if we need to do a quick Google search will show you how to use your cell phone to make it into a PDF. So I would say always, if you're at the site, you probably have a piece of paper with the observation. I would go ahead and sign it, have them sign it on while you're on the site. And then you can, if you don't have a scanner, you can take a picture of it with your phone and it can turn it into a PDF, and then you can email it that or upload it that way or email it to yourself. Do whatever you got to do, but it needs to be signed by both parties. Don't forget that. We want y'all to become friends too. Um, Linda Williams put on her best friends. But you need to get to know that person to where y'all have a relationship. We're going to keep emphasizing that there should be a relationship. This should not be just a person that you go to just for money, because that's essentially what this is, a contract. But we're finding that these reports are becoming, you're giving us exactly what is in the template and nothing more. You're not coming up with, I know it's not a $1 million grant, but some of these grantees, if you think about how many they have, it is a $1 million grant, and you are getting 5% of their $1 million or 3%, whatever this year is. So be mindful that you want your work product to stand out. And I mean, if that means you add pictures to your report, add pictures. If that means your logic model is not just a template, it is an actual logic model that looks colorful or pretty or something. Do something to make these reports stand out, and emphasize, and we're going to emphasize to the grantees that this is not just a document that's just created just to check the box. This is a document that should be something that helps them and helps their program to move forward. So assessments and grade reports, the point of the contact for assessments and grades, it is normally not the site coordinator or program director, but it could be the counselor, principal, and the staff. So they have to figure out how to form a relationship with whoever that person is that is going to get them the assessments, because they have to have access from PowerSchool. And if they're a school day teacher, they might have access to their students' PowerSchool data, but not all the students in the program. So different programs have different points of contacts for who's going to get their assessments and their grades. I can remember when I was a site director, I didn't work for the school district at all. I literally knew, hey, I got to go butter up to the secretary to try to get these report cards and get this data, because I need to input it. And I literally took it from pieces of paper to loading in an easy report. It should be a little bit easier than that now, but there are still a lot of grantees who do that. So just be mindful of that when you're asking them for this data, that it is a tangible product that they are working towards, but they need reminders ahead of time. So not just from us, because they're getting reminders from us, but yet just you continuing to say to them, hey, this is what we need this data for. Hey, have you made a plan for how to get this data? Who's the person who's going to give it to you? All of those things, so that that's not an extra thing that they are having to shoulder. Grades should be uploaded to Easy Report by the site director or the program director, and they need to read the grant, and y'all need to read the grant too. Once the grades are uploaded, then you do have read-only access to Easy Report. So you should be able to pull the grades from that they upload, not from Power School, because Power School is not going to load in the Easy Report this semester or this school year. So they'll have to upload those grades, and then you can see them from Easy Report. Then in there, you can aggregate and compare those grades.
And tell them also, you all remember that if they don't put any grades in, you cannot aggregate nor compare any grades if they're not in Easy Report. Because Easy Report is only going to give you what has been uploaded into Easy Report. So sometimes you call and say, well, where are the grades? Well, Easy Report don't automatically put those grades in. That has to come from this, either the program director of the site. It's not an automatic thing. So they have to upload those grades into Easy Report.
So this is another report that you can pull, and my computer does not want to move. I mean, let's show it to you. There we go. It's just gonna keep moving for me. Sorry. These reports said I'm trying to show too much today. Okay. So we want to show y'all where the reports are. All reports. Let's see, is it going to show me grade reports? This is a graph by grade, grade served by site. You want aggregated. This is, yeah, okay. So down here at the bottom, and this is normally the bottom, that's why I say that, you'll have an aggregate, a list, and a comparison for your grades. And they're giving you the descriptions on what it'll show you. So if you click on the aggregate, then it's going to ask you all these questions. Which school do you want it? So I only have one school on this grant. So it's not going to show me the one school. Do you want first semester or second semester? You want English, math, or science? I did ask them for science grades, or it is a place on the website for them to enter science grades. That does not mean that they're going to give them to you. You have to request them. You have to make it clear to them that you want the science grades. And that's going to depend on what they wrote for their STEM objective. So you're going to say, do you want all students, or do you want students with grade data, students with missing grade data? You want all students, attended students? I normally go with attending students. Regular students, even though it's on here, it's nothing at this point. So don't do regular students. And then it's going to give you, do you want all of this information? Because this is demographics, and then it'll generate a report.
Okay, Erica, there are some questions in the chat. It says, if a student is added second semester and did not attend the first semester, do you still add their first semester grade into Easy Report?
If you don't have access to their first semester grades, then no. The school might have access to it through Power School if they're within the same district. But if they're if they transfer from another school in another district, they might not have access to it. So I would get what you can get. I would just do the second semester, to be honest, because your registration date, or their registration date for the program, is going to reflect that they didn't start until the second semester. So yeah, second semester.
And therefore, you're not going to be able to compare nor do and aggregate the data on that particular student, because you won't have a first semester grade to compare with.
Correct.
Or even with the aggregated, you don't know whether they've shown improvement or stayed the same, because you only have one grade.
Yeah, depending on what their grade, the grade that they're in. If it's an elementary school, you won't be looking at the GPA from last year to this year. If it's their first year in 21st century, there'll be a ENA for this year, and then next year will be, okay, we're going to compare their grades. So let me also show you the comparison grade report. Very similar, a lot less data. But you want to compare the first semester to the second semester. English. And do you want to filter by no change, improved grades? I would say improved grades, or no change, highest grade, or no change, same grade. I would maybe pull multiple reports to look at some of these, but not all in one. That's the way I'm looking at that. And then I say attending students. I wouldn't say no regular students. And you might not have data. You probably only have data for attending students. So, and then generate report. I'm going through these slides without flipping back and forth through the screens, just FYI. So that was a comparison. The next one was, did you know about Report Wizard? And I'm gonna pull the Report Wizard, but Linda Williams is gonna tell you about it because I just keep clicking through until I find what I need.
Okay, Report Wizard is also in Easy Report. There's two report types. You have list and count. Don't ever select list, because list will give you a list of students' name, and you don't need the student's name. So you're gonna always click on count, okay? Now let's say I wanted to demographics of students. So Erica has already clicked on count, then she says student, then she says students demographics. So go to continue. So on continue, I want all the students, because sometimes students drop and sometimes it's during the school year. So I want all of them, because what the State Department is requiring right now, even if they attended just 1 hour, they're going to count those students. So I want all of them, even though they've dropped out of the program. So keep that in mind. Then maybe I want to put them by age. I could put them by sex, free, reduced, free or reduced lunch, but I'm gonna put grades, just give them grades. And then I would just click where it says generate a report in Excel, and it will give me a report. There's a lot of stuff that you can get out of Report Wizard. Erica, go back to the report type. I can get the demographics. I can get the attendance information. I can also get the activity information. Activity tells me exactly what activity these children are involved in. But if I want a more detailed report on the activity, I will be looking into 21 APR report versus this. But it has a lot of information that you can use. That it also exported from, exported from Easy Report. But this I like. I can also compare grades if I want to do that in this Report Wizard. So if I were you, play around with it. Use the data that is in Easy Report. There's a lot of data that you can obtain just by pushing some buttons in Easy Report. But the Report Wizard is one of them. And I like using it. So, to each his own, but as far as demographic, attendance information, academic information, go to Report Wizard and it'll give you what you need. It's just another tool in your tool box that you can use in order to assess your report. Now, of course, all your reports will not come from Easy Report, but the majority will. This is just a data bank for you to use in order to write your report. Thank you, Erica.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many people have actually used our Report Wizard.
And just FYI, when y'all send us an email and ask us for reports, we can log in to Easy Report and see when was the last time you logged in. So if you've never logged into Easy Report and you ask us for a report a couple of days before the due date, we're noticing. We are noticing. So because everybody wanted access to Easy Report, so we've given it to you now to try to take some of the burden off of your grantees, but that also does not mean try to add the burden to us. instead of you trying to figure out how to use Easy Reports. That's why we want to do this training, to show you where you can pull the information. There are also some really good support videos and just information in Easy Report where you can click the support button and we use the support button all the time. Type in what you're looking for or just randomly what you're looking for, and they will give you all type of, well, we think you want this, and give you all type of ways to figure out what you need. So
Sarah Odom says she used everything. I love it. I love it.
So GEPA results, remember your GEPA results are not going to be in Easy Report until next year, probably around this time. So don't look at this for your final report. I will tell you for last year's GEPA information for 22-23, I would suggest if you are cohort 16, so you had last year and this year, I would suggest when you're doing your comparisons for this year that you go back and look at 22-23 so that you can have correct data for your comparisons. So you can now go back to 22-23 and look at that GEPA information from last year to see how are your comparisons going, where are you going as far as your GEPA information. But for this year, do not look for this information. Try to get them to give you as much information as they can on their own. So grades, they can upload them. State assessments, that's going to be a little bit more challenging. Hopefully that's not one of their, if that's one of their goals and objectives, then they need to be coming up with a plan for how to get that information, because that information is normally reported after the school year is over. We normally don't get that information until August, September-ish. So that would be a really late thing, that would be a really late document for you to receive. So we are going to keep those papers in the final report. What papers?
I was going to ask the same thing. Sarah, that's your question. Is she on?
The table.
That is your question, Sarah.
So
what
you can, she's saying GEPA pages, the table. You can still create the tables separately, but you're not going to pull it straight from Easy Report. So the demographic stuff is probably going to be loaded in there at that point, because the student's information is the student information. If you click on that right now, it'll tell you, well, there's 10 first graders. It's still going to tell you the demographic information because that's loaded from Easy Report as it's done. So the activities, that will be in there, but the outcome stuff, no, it will not be in there. But I can't remember. It won't tell us. No, it will not tell you if the goal has actually been met. No. It's not telling that until right about now.
Hey, Erica, and I remember last year that we had with the uploading of the GEPA data, we're going to have that same issue this year with them trying to finish the final report. Yes, I figured as much. It's important that you all get as much information from the people that you're working with, whether it's the principal, the counselor. That's why I said become their best buddy or their best friend in order to get the information that we can't give you. Some of the information we just can't give you because we don't have access to PowerSchool.
I just want this year for it to be really clear, and we're going to try to make this clear with the grantees also, that this is not just a check the box document, that this is a document that's going to help them move forward in their grant, to progress. You're going to give them really good recommendations. You're going to point out things that they might be lacking in that they can use a boost in. And one of those things could be, hey, you didn't give me the data until a week after, or you didn't report any data. So that should be reflected in the report to say, hey, the data wasn't given to us, blah, blah, blah. So that needs to be reported to us, to the federal government, to the State Department, so that it's known. But they also need to know that that doesn't look favorable on them, because it looks like they're not deciding to be in compliance for a piece of the grant, because this is a requirement. So these are the things that we do gather for GEPA results, and notice they all have grades attached to them. So state assessments for reading and math is only for grades 4th through 8th. GPA is only for 7th through 8th or 10th through 12th. Attendance is for everybody, grades 1st through 12th. In-school suspension is for everybody, grades 1st through 12th. Well, it doesn't include pre-K and kindergarten, but you get where I'm going. And some schools don't have in-school suspension, so sometimes that's going to be no data, gathered, but that if they have that in their grant objectives, that needs to be something that they need to address with you. Hey, we don't have in-school suspension, or hey, none of our students participated in in-school suspension, or if they had one or two, then document the one or two. Engagements in learning, which is the teacher surveys, that's going to be grades 1 through 5. If you want the teacher surveys for other grades, then you need to specify with your grantees. Excuse me. Parental involvement. Sorry. That's going to be engaging families in after school and summer learning is a critical component of the 21st century's initiatives. And it is, sorry, I went through thinking it was a second slide.
A lot of a lot of sites have difficulty, involving parents. And so make sure you all check for that. And even if you're going to give them some recommendation, make sure those recommendations are very specific or specify some other ideas that they can use in order to involve those parents. Because some of the sites struggle with this, especially the middle and high school. Elementary, not so much, but the middle and high school, that's a struggle for them.
So that's where you're going to come in, giving them recommendations. It could be, if you do multiple sites, it could be something that you saw at another site. Sometimes I would glean things from when I was watching the news and just, hey, this seems like it would be a good service project. It could be things that you glean from your community. Hey, well, I see that you have this partner, so why not have this partner come in and do this activity? Whatever it is, you're another person that's brainstorming with them on how they could up this part of their grant or their program, because these are things that they put in their grant that they were going to fulfill. So just be mindful, again, you're their partner. Yes, you are a contractor, but you're their partner. So they're looking for you for help, for recommendations on how they can make their program better. It's okay to say, well, this year we only had 10% of our parents to show up to our parental involvement activities. Like the mid-year report talks about the action plan. But for our action plan or for the final report, hey, I'm giving them recommendations on, doing this type of report, doing this type of parent activity or this type of parent activity, or utilizing this partner so that their parental involvement engagement will be better next year. They offer more things. Or, hey, I suggested that they do a survey with their parents to see things that they're interested in, so that you can bring in partners for that type of activity, so that maybe the parents would be more engaged. Or, hey, I saw that they were doing a cooking club, and I said, well, hey, maybe the kids do a cooking club, or we do a cooking class with the parents and they come in and we do a family night cooking, whatever. But you need to be gleaning information from their total program to figure out how to make the parts that they're weak in stronger. That's pretty much where I'm going with that. Professional development. Let's see. Just giving me instructions. Oh, and I do want to show y'all this. Hold on.
That's a fairly new section that each report has added. The professional, I know it was there last year, and I don't know how many people actually used it, Erica, but it is available. And so if you all can just pass that word on to your site coordinators or your program directors and let them know that it's in there.
Let's see. Now I have too many screens open. Okay, screen share. We're just going from where we left off. So we're gonna go to, well, first I'm gonna show you, first I'm gonna show you where they enter it. So, and if I'm on the home screen, there's actually a button for stakeholders. So they can utilize that button and then enter staff. as they enter their staff, there's a professional development. Let's go back to I have a test person in here. They can enter their stuff as it goes. So ACEA, a lot of the site directors, program directors are going to ACEA. So I'm going to go through and I would click on add record. What is the type? You can just add a name for it, complete it on whatever date, and it will actually create a list of the trainings that they've done and how many hours so that they can know, hey, they fulfilled the 10 hours. And then they can then you can come in, go reports, all reports. I know Linda Williams types at the top. I don't type at the top. I just scroll through. Go to staff reports and PD attendance records. So you can go to either one of these. I would say PD, what did you say? PD staff report or PD status report. Either one of these three, I think is going to give you, this is going to print an attendance record for the different PDs. This is going to print a record for each staff person, just like I just showed you. So Erica Rucker went to ACEA, I went to this, I went to that. That's going to give you a list like that. And then the status report is going to print a record by training and list each one. So your best bet is probably the PD status report for the part of the final report that y'all are completing. Let's see, I have a question. Is it 10 hours per staff member? Yes. Everybody that is paid through 21st Century has to do 10 hours of professional development per year. So program or site director generally get way more than that. With ACEA, it's normally 16 to 18 hours. And the October training that they have to do is normally at least a day. But the site, like when they go back and they disseminate this information to their sites, that's a PD. If they do first aid and CPR, that's a PD. Those are hours. If they go and they do just some other education, it could be, they could find stuff online for behavior, or there's websites, Y for Y, or if they watch our monthly trainings that we do with 21st Century office hours, and those are on YouTube. So they can go in and say, okay, once a month, y'all can log in and watch one of those. And then they complete the form or complete something that say that they did it, and then they can pay their staff for an hour. And that can be done on their own time, not just, hey, they did it. We all sat in a room and did it. If a staff member starts late second semester, do they need to have 5 hours? No, they still need to have 10 hours. When they get to compliance, they're required to show that each staff member has completed 10 hours. So that's when the website, the YouTube videos is probably going to be really helpful, because it's introducing a new idea most times, and it's normally an hour. So they can go back and they can watch that. They also can go back and they can watch the October trainings, which are normally recorded. We have plenty of things on our YouTube page for them to watch. There's also Y for Y, which is after school training for the federal government. It has changed its location, but I think we have a link to it on our Alabama 21 CCLC website. So those are great questions. Let's change my share. I think that was. Oh, wait, your next thing is telling me to go. You want me to show summer? You have a link.
You can talk about the summer, but the summer will not be available right now because that will be 24, 25.
Yes. So all of the grantees switch over to new Easy Reports in June. So just know whatever is in Easy Report now is good until once we start the summer, they roll over to a new one. So there'll be 24, 25. The website is always the same. It's always Easy Report / Alabama 20, whatever the year. So right now it's 23, 24. Next year will be 24, 25. And normally your sign-in just rolls over.
Yeah, and keep in mind that you're using the summer for 24, 25 year to put in your final report. So you do need some information from Easy Report in order to complete this task.
All right. That's all we got. Y'all got questions? We're a little bit under an hour. Don't all speak at once.
I didn't hear you, Erica. Did you say anything?
Said don't all speak at once.
Oh, okay. Let me say this as well. Mid-year reports for cohort 17 is due on the 29th. Please make sure that they're signed by yourself before they're uploaded, because you're supposed to receive a copy.
And that's just a progress report to see where they are. So even for cohort 17s, if they've hired staff and they've started with students, they need to be telling you how they're progressing towards that, and their other objectives. So service learning, if they haven't done it yet, well, okay, what's your plan for service learning? When is the project gonna start? Who's gonna operate it? Who's gonna do, who's going, who's on first, who's on second, whatever. They need to go ahead and start put that in the mid report so y'all can talk about it. Relationships, relationships, relationships. No questions? And Dr. Shannon is on here with us. She's actually the external evaluator for the State Department. So if and when she contacts y'all, just know she is Alabama 21st Century external evaluator. We have one also. So she might contact y'all for surveys and those things. Shannon, appreciate you coming.
There's another question, Erica. Final report template will basically be the same as in the past.
Yes.
Now, we updated that template last year. Don't use the old one. We did update it last year. So there's some changes on the one that you got last year versus the one the year before.
And we will send the Zoom out. Give us till next week since today's Thursday, because I have to switch it to YouTube, upload it to YouTube, and then send it to Linda Williams. So once I do that, she'll send it to you. So it will live on YouTube, but it will be only accessible through the link that she sends you. Any other questions?
Erica, also evaluation plans for cohort 17s. If you have not uploaded those into Quadrant, you need to have those uploaded by the 29th of February. I completely forgot to make sure that they're signed by 2 people, yourself, site coordinator, / project director.
All right. And I'm going to stop my recording.